Hey, welcome to Subs Lie, Dubs Lie, a comprehensive anime podcast. It's your boy Jay, aka Versace Vegeta.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy D, aka Brother D, aka D the Man, aka modern day, the modern day retro anime man. Like, this is what it is. What's going on, y'all? What's going
Yeah,
on?
man. Hey, we are so glad to be here with y'all, man. Listen, I know for y'all, it has just been a few days, you know what I'm saying? Maybe about a week at the earliest since y'all last heard us. But for us together, it's been a while.
It's
It's
been a
been a
minute, bro.
while.
It's been a minute. Like, life has
Yeah.
changed.
Yes, life is
Life has
entirely
changed.
changed. Like we just for transparency's sake, y'all, we recorded the first couple of episodes a little while back, just to try to get our feet wet as a proof of concept for everything, and it was so good that now we're out here, we're live on a week to week basis. So now here we are recording just days before y'all will be hearing this. So it's been a little while since Dee and I have joined, but we are so glad to be kicking off the summer with these Dragon Ball movies. Dee, just tell me, dog, since the show has been starting, what you been watching, man? What you been reading? What you been playing? What you been up to, bro?
Ooh, well, Brother J, me and my boy Kurt on Twitter, like we've coined the term Persona Summer since last
Okay.
year. So what I've been in my Persona bag. Like what I'm trying to do is trying to knock out every Persona game before the summer ends. I've been playing a lot of Persona 3 and whatnot. You know, I'm kind of mad because yesterday, which is crazy, out of nowhere I decided to boot up my game. Tell me how I boot up my game and all of a sudden my save data is gone. So
Nah.
I made it into like if you played Persona before, you know how
Yes, I
hard
have.
it is to progress through the game because it's a lot, which I like.
Dog.
I like when games have a lot of content in it.
How
I
many seasons had you gotten to?
I made it into the end of the summer break
Oh,
for in Persona 3.
fuck.
So me seeing that I had to start the game over, it really hurt me. So I was like kind of taken back. I was like, do I really want to play the game all over again? But I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna knock it out anyway because it's still a good game. But other than that, I've been watching a couple of anime. I've seen a lot of people post some stuff on Twitter, and I've been trying to like get in tune with the guys and the folks. So I gave Tokyo Revengers the anime a chance, and
Okay.
I'm here to
What'd you
say
think?
I don't like it.
Okay.
Like, I'm sorry. I don't want to go into too details into that, but
Yeah.
I just think it's terrible. I think anytime you introduce like time travel, you kind of you take a risk introducing time travel.
See, I
And
haven't seen it yet, so
oh
that's interesting. But
yeah,
it
so
didn't do time travel well, is what you're telling me.
it's very weird.
Okay.
I it's just I like I my philosophy is this: like, if your main character isn't interesting, it's really hard to make a series good.
Nah, man. Don't
I
tell
don't
me
find
that.
I don't find that main
Don't
character.
tell me that.
Well, I mean, some people like people really like hyped about it. Like, people really like this joint. So it's like maybe I'm just the odd man. Like my
I'll
taste
have
is
to
kind of
give it a go, man. I'm gonna
yeah,
have to peep it,
yeah.
bro.
Like give it a chance. Like, you might like it. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people tell me like, yo, you don't like anything, which I guess.
That's not true.
I
That's
like a
not
lot of
true.
stuff.
I know we've rapped about a lot of anime
Yeah,
that we both
exactly.
like.
I don't like to brag about my anime acumen, but like I've seen a lot of series. Like I made a habit of like checking stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s,
Yeah.
2000s. Even if the 2010s stink, I gave a lot of them a chance. So like obviously I like one for each era. So I mean, if you
What's
say
one that's out right now that you've liked?
what I like this anime, and I want to give the correct name. I don't want to give the Japanese name. So this anime in particular, it's called Your Boy Coming. It
Okay, I've heard about this.
I really like it. It's really cool. It's me, like, and it was just crazy. It has implemented time travel, but it's not. It's a series. It's not taking itself serious as much as Like as like Tokyo Revenge, like if your plot revolves around this time travel and it's a common thing where you going back into the future, back in the past, back in the past. No, no, no.
Okay.
So, you know, it being a little parody or whatever, and like not taking itself serious is it's much more enjoyable for me. You know,
I'm
it's
gonna
fun.
go ahead and I'm gonna check out Tokyo Revengers on my end because I haven't watched that yet, and I'm gonna check out your boy Kong Ming. I'm seeing really good stuff about that too, man. So I'll be sure to check those out and let you know what I think next time, man. I know myself. I've been playing a lot of Samurai Warrior Spirit of Sanada. It's a spin-off that specializes in just telling the story of the Takeda and the Sanada clans during the Warring States era, which I thought was really cool. It's more centered around telling the historical tales as opposed to it being a bunch of different battles that are based on the historical tales from different perspectives, even though you do have access to all the characters in Samurai Warriors. So, for all my Muso heads, definitely check that out if you haven't. I was able to snag a really cheap copy for like $15 on eBay recently. So, had to do
how
that.
hard it is to get games.
Listen, bro, I get it. I get it. I've also been watching Snowfall. I just started. I never had seen it before. So I've gotten like 5 episodes deep. That's a wild show.
Yo, it is.
It's a wild show, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting more into it. Dealing with just the 80s like crack epidemic and stuff. So
they did it well, man.
Yeah, it looks like it's getting pretty nuts. So I'm looking forward to getting more into that. But that is to say, outside of those things that I've just been really getting into, man, we've been watching some Dragon Ball Z movies, my man.
Ooh, I have too. And I'll say from as a fan perspective, there's more good than there's bad. So that's always a plus. I mean, honestly.
That's true. There's truth. And I would say, man, especially as we get further into it, it kind of muddies the waters. But the first couple of ones, especially Dragon Ball Z Movie 1, which we know is Dead Zone out here, and Dragon Ball Z Movie 2, World's Strongest, those two classics, my dog.
Those are good.
Classics.
Good.
And we'll
watch them. Please watch them.
Look. We're going to give y'all a reason to want to watch them this week, man, because those two movies will be focusing on here specifically, Dragon Ball Z movies 1 and 2. Really excited to go over them with y'all because, that's what we got. It's like our first little taste here in the West as far as any sort of Dragon Ball side adventures. So really, really happy to be able to bring those to y'all. And we'll be right back in just a moment with our brief synopsis of Dragon Ball Z Movie 1.
Finally, Piccolo and Kami are one in body and in spirit, because now they're both dead.
All right, man. So, dog, remember what it was like when this came out back in 97 here in the States?
This was dope. This was a dope feeling. And this is like, to me, this is peak Dragon Ball, bro. This is peak Dragon Ball. Like, this is as a whole, like, not counting Z. This is peak Dragon Ball. This is good content. Like, you're on fire. You coming off of Dragon Ball and you add on to this movie. This is dope. This is some of my first exposure to like anime movies.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really a fan of anime movies. I prefer most of the series as opposed to movies. Because back then, I won't lie, I was one of those, well, if it's not canon, I ain't watching it.
Oh no, you just didn't know the way. You didn't know the way.
I was a loser. I was a young boy. I'm not an elitist, but I was really stuck in my ways.
Damn, bro. It's all right, man. It's all right. Now you're able to see, it was a lot of good stuff they was giving us, man, just for the fun, man. I know originally, when this came, when the first 3 Dragon Ball Z movies came on Toonami back in 97, and they kind of like gave it to us in these little blocks, I was like, the first thing I remember feeling was, oh, that's where those extra scenes in the Dragon Ball Z Rock the Dragon opening are from, because I don't remember half this stuff in the opening happening.
That's what I noticed the most. I'm like, bro,
yeah,
they take Oh, that's that scene.
It's like, oh, that's when he's running on the walls. That's when he's fighting against those dudes. That's when he does that Kaioken. Okay.
Look at the ice.
Yeah, exactly, man. So,
Really dope stuff.
as the perspective of somebody who grew up watching this on TV, it was really, really great, man. I can say Japan, obviously for them, they were able to get this as a part of the summer 1989 cartoon festival, the Toei Cartoon Festival itself. So, like we said last time, man, with these festivals, they would be getting a few movies at a time. They got an anime movie for Akuma-kun, one for Himitsu no Ako-chan, and another live-action movie for Mobile Cop Jiban, which was a Toku series at the time, bro. So it was pretty heated, man. They got some good little action here in that festival. When it comes to Dragon Ball Z movie 1 itself, you'll notice, I keep calling it that because, back in the day, it didn't even have a tagline. It was just Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
That's wild, right? Like it was, they didn't even realize that, hey, like we might come out with more movies in the future. So they just called it, it's not even Dragon Ball Z the movie, just Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
It wasn't until 1996 that there was a re-release for it that came out. And in a part of the box collection that it was given a re-release within, they then went on to call it Dragon Ball Z Return My Gohan, which of course is like kind of a funny line that happens in the movie.
That is gold. That's a golden title.
Yeah, honestly. It is. Which we know here as Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone. But I just think it's funny that around the same time that, we would have gotten it here in the West with Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone as a title, they are just getting a name for it after, all those years after it aired. I'm talking about a good 7 years later. Just a little brief synopsis of what this is over. Garlic Jr., who is the antagonist for our movie here, gathers the Dragon Balls and wishes for immortality. And in the process, he kidnaps son Gohan, who has the 4-star Dragon Ball. Garlic Jr. I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was saying, take that, Zom.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He got it done quick, man. Real quick, actually. Garlic Jr. seeks the title of God after his father was denied previously. Piccolo and Goku must join forces to save the Earth, God, and Gohan. Nice little adventure we had here, dude.
It's really dope.
Back in the day when this did air over in Japan, it was on the July the 15th of 1989. So this is around the same time that we've got in the manga where Goku is just about to throw the spirit bomb at Vegeta. And in the anime, episode 11 would have just aired. So we're talking about right when Krillin and Gohan are leaving that planet Arlia in the filler. Krillin, Gohan, and Bulma are all leaving planet Arlia. So really early in Dragon Ball Z's airing here, man. For especially considering the fact that this is a new telling of a way to give us a story where Goku and Piccolo team up for the first time. It's kind of clearly with Gohan showing his anger for the first time here. This is prior to Raditz showing up as far as in the canon. So that's pretty interesting how this would fit in that instance. Really just giving us a retelling of what we had there. I like to think of this movie as what if Pilaf had hands.
Hey man, you could really say like, yo, Pilaf is a good villain. Let's get that straight. For all the people, I've seen a lot of people like just talk about, when they talk about this movie, they just say that Garlic Jr. is basically after Pilaf. Like they just reduce him to that. Like, I'm like, yo, he's much more than that. He's really he's more complex as a villain as opposed to Emperor Pilaf, who's just really a gag actor.
For sure. But still. Exactly. And I joke that he's Pilaf with hands because they got the same similar design and they both wanted that wish for the Dragon Balls. The only difference is that Garlic is like seeking revenge, right? We don't get anything sort of like in the movie that sort of tells us any sort of reason as to how he grew up and sought that revenge, other than his father's backstory of losing the title of God to Kami, right? At least in the original version. But
Yeah.
really, really interesting that we have this villain who he gets that wish, grows huge, and then at that point he's a threat because now he's immortal due to that wish.
He's an immortal. He's an immortal beast with hands.
Oh yeah.
He's not. He's not. He's which is cool. Like, like for me, like honestly, this is a Dragon Ball Z movie that should have been longer, in my opinion. Like this should have been longer.
Yeah, running at only 45 minutes. This is pretty early on when they're delivering those movies too. So, not really a whole lot to compare itself to as far as stories go. And I will say with what it told here, right? Gohan's capture, then, them leading out to where Garlic Jr.'s base was and everything from there, pretty succinct. Even with Piccolo coming in for the save and Krillin and everything, man.
That is, the funny part, like this movie is also, not only is it a serious movie, it's a funny.
Oh yeah,
it's a funny. Like this is what we like in Dragon Ball. For me, I like a little mixture of action and comedy, and that's what this movie.
Man, that's what I love is that this movie is really that sort of blend from. This is the last remnants of what Dragon Ball was like, right? It's got its little bits of adventure and comedy. And then the fights are all kung fu style. They're all...
Yeah, it's a lot of martial arts.
Yeah. Like if it was real life, I would say it's well choreographed or something like that, right? Because like you can see the impact or lack thereof of every single blow thrown in the movie, as opposed to it being a bunch of random strikes. Like, ha, ha, ha.
It's not a scream fest. It's not a we're gonna throw key blast galore. It's just straight hands.
Yeah, exactly, man. I really enjoyed that. Also, the Nyoibo being used, the power pole being used, is like a regular weapon.
You don't see that much.
Yeah, obviously this is that era where we're just about to stop seeing that. So really cool seeing that inclusion here, man. When it comes to what if the sub line, the dub line, where the truth lies, bro. Listen. We have to remember that back when we got this in 97, times was not the way they are now. And back then, there was a company called Pioneer that had the Ocean Group dubbing the movie. So when we got it on TV, we didn't even have the same cast that we're used to now with Funimation. Now, Funimation would go on to create their own dub of this movie later on in 2005. However, by that point, let's be real. If you were a Dragon Ball Z fan in 2005, you were moved past such movies. You weren't really watching.
You weren't even thinking. You were wondering if you were gonna get a sequel to Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah, at that point, yeah. And if you are watching any movies, they got Super Saiyans in them. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I had not watched the Funimation dub of this movie until now. I'd never watched it, and.
We're missing much.
Bro, say that again, dog, because
you were missing much.
Going through this, man, I almost wanted to say, bro, Ocean dub, we didn't know how good we had it.
Yo, we like saying the term washed. A lot of people like, yo, Ocean dub washed Funimation.
Easily.
Washed it. Like,
easily.
In every facet. Like, yo, this is embarrassing. You know, like how people say, yo, just keep this in the draft. Like, yo, Funimation, you ain't have to redub this, brother, man. You didn't have to. Like, this was just like, not good.
I don't know what they was thinking. And the thing is by this point, 2005, the Funimation crew, they've been doing Dragon Ball Z for a hot minute. So I don't know, was this an off day? Was this like, hey, look, the contract says we got to do it because the fucking subgroup is going to come out with a new physical release and they want to keep churning this shit out. Do we care? No, we just got to dub it anyway. Like, that's what it felt like.
we're doing this.
The
Okay,
voices
let's
are
get it.
uninspired, bro.
Hey, man, I could have done way better. Like I understand, like there's no really interest in working on this, but like, come on, it showed. It really showed how bad. Like, yo, this was some really inspired acting. It was bad voice acting, in my opinion.
And can we talk about the soundtrack?
Hey,
What?
yo, Mark Menza, what are you doing, brother, man? And I'm not dissing you as a person because you just did what you were being told to do. But yo, these songs that you played in these movies, they weren't it. I'm letting you know now, brother. They weren't it. Maybe you've moved past from your days of doing Dragon Ball movies and you don't even think about Dragon Ball to this day. But I'm here to tell you, I'm here to remind you, you did bad, brother. You did bad. They were not good.
God,
A lot of songs were out of place. A lot of them.
Mark Menza was out here making Power Rangers background theme music and just throwing it in a Dragon Ball Z movie. He did it twice in a row, dog. Because before we even say anything about World's Strongest, yeah, he did it in that one too. I used to think there used to be a point in time where I would say, "Hey, man, if you're gonna watch Dragon Ball Z in English, watch it with the Funimation dub and with the Kikuchi score." You know what I'm saying? The DVDs give you that option. No, I would never recommend the Funimation dub of this movie to anybody. Like, if you want to watch this in English, please go watch the Ocean group, and they'll show you what it's like to actually care about voicing a certain character. They'll show you what it's like to pronounce terms correct. Like, I hear characters saying Goku, Goku,
Goku, Kaioken, not Kaioken, Kaioken.
bro.
With like little
Little
stuff.
things.
Like I appreciate the nuances. Like you don't have to like go. You don't have to be full weeb and like everything has to be. But at least respect the original source.
I at least felt like the actors and the voice director watched the Japanese version before they did this.
It shows. It does.
It's wild. It is insane. And maybe that's the fatigue from us having watched this movie 3 times in 1 week.
Man,
Watching the Funimation dub, the Ocean dub, and the Japanese dub. I don't listen. I don't go in on Funimation too hard too often.
Well, I do.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot where they've messed up, but this is the era where they should have been changing stuff. They should have been changing their ways by this point, but they hadn't.
Well, it was a stinker.
Yeah, man. But to go into better things about this movie, good gosh, listen. I will say the portrayal of these characters really, really cool. I love Goku is in his young Goku bag, telling Kami, "Hey man, this ain't none of your business." Exactly. Kami showed up.
He's not respecting God's at all.
Yo, he's like, I'm here to save my son, bro. Listen, I don't care what y'all's little beef is. Where is my kid?
Exactly.
Where's Gohan? God, some of the really good stuff that was acted out. Going back to talking about Ocean Dub, why do we still not to this day have Scott McNeil as Piccolo? Where's Scott McNeil, dog?
Hey, I know a lot of people like they're Chris Sabat, but hey man,
bruh.
Hey, man.
I mean, from the opening of the movie in the dub, where he lets out that guttural howl.
Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. It sounds like the beginning of a fucking rock track or something. It was nuts.
That is
he was out here, man, and he captures the guttural like voice of Piccolo in such a way to where it's like, nah, like I believe this dude used to be evil. Like
he doesn't sound like a smoker.
Yeah. He doesn't sound like a smoker while still sounding like a badass. It's really cool how they went about that, man. I really shouts out Scott McNeil, dude. He's one of the OGs. I met him at an anime convention back in 2010. It was San Japan, and I wish I could go back in time because I thanked him for his role as Duo Maxwell. Obviously, he's a big Gundam Wing fan, but I wish I could thank him for his role as Piccolo because Not enough love, not enough flowers for that short time he spent playing Piccolo, man. I will say, just overall in themes, with this being a movie that sort of like is the retelling of Goku and Piccolo having to rescue Gohan, right? Due to the fact that Goku was alive in this clearly has to be before Raditz attacks. But like how does Krillin know Gohan? All this stuff, whatever. We can question that till the cows come home. What I really thought was really interesting though, just like little things as far as like the trivia on people's names, like the puns. Obviously, garlic, right? Nikki, that's a type of like radish. Ginger being ginger as well, and then Sancho is another. It's a prickly ash, a pepper. So real. I'm sorry. No, Nikki. My fault is actually Chinese for cinnamon. My apologies. There. Yeah. And I don't know why I thought it was a radish. That's weird. That's Raditz who's a radish.
Yeah,
that's Radish who's a radish.
I think it's because this is really like before like Raditz shows up in the actual series, so it's like, hey yo, it's on your mind.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, we were just talking about Raditz, or I just spoke wrong. It happens, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you that my head was like, it does. Like me, I was just trying to piece together, like, how do I accurately portray this movie fitting into the story? Yeah, because it's like, hey, Gohan is known by Krillin knows Gohan or whatever the case may be. Whatever. Goku and Piccolo they got beef still. So it's like, hey, this is clearly before Raditz, but it's like, this is just like a detour where Raditz did not come to Kame House? Like, did he get stuck on the way? Was his scouter not working or whatever?
This is like a week before. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot. Like, this is like this is the movie like the way how you try to place it into the timeline. I mean, it's kind of finicky or whatever, but
that's how most of them are going to be, honestly. To be honest, I will say with this having supposedly being the first team up of Goku and Piccolo, gotta love that theme that they play in the Kikuchi score on the Japanese version, dog. There's a point where they team up and it starts playing a mix of the Dragon Ball theme, like da 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 da, and then it's going da 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 from Piccolo, and it meshes them over the same.
It's just a nice little ring, like, yo, it is.
We're gonna throw it in here. Because y'all gotta hear it. It's so good. See what I'm saying, man? Like, oh, God, bro. Shinsuke Kikuchi was in his damn bag, bro.
Rest in peace to the GOAT.
Rest in peace to the GOAT. As a matter of fact, I would say, just when it comes to music, some of my best renditions of all his themes are all in this movie. Because like it kind of goes through some of the more well-known like themes that you hear in the show. And it does them at really tense points in this movie. Another thing, which is why I can't stand the Funimation having its own, the Funimation version having its own backtracking. This movie uses silence really well too. That point where they're hiding in the dark from Garlic Jr. and he's like going Brock Lesnar mode on him, just like smashing him through the pillars. See? That I loved it. Like, you don't get scenes like that in Dragon Ball movies anymore.
You don't. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Mark, I just can't stop. I just can't let go of what Mark Mensa did, man. Bro. Like, yo, you watch the original Swordies, and then you watch the Ocean dub, and then you go watch Funimation last. It's like, man, no. No. a movie tastes like if you ever had expired milk, like it probably tastes like expired milk.
Something like that, man, because it literally does leave a bad taste in your mouth. Like I can, if you grew up watching the Funimation version of this movie, I can see why you might think this movie's mid. I can see why. I would, but to me, it's a classic. It's up there. It's not my favorite Dragon Ball Z movie by any chance, because Garlic Jr. is a dumbass who gets himself locked up in his own move, and that's. I mean, that's what it is.
Oh man, did a nice little noob move over there, brother man.
Yeah, I don't I mean, listen, that's Toei, bro. They don't. If either they stick the landing for the ending, or they just say, "And the movie's over now."
Yeah.
So that's where that remains here.
How do I make my villain look really stupid?
Yeah,
like he's clearly unbeatable.
Yeah,
let's make him mess up. Like, I get it. Like, kind of wrote yourself into the shoot over there, but like, it is what it is.
And considering this is our first movie and everything, I can definitely see how it's something where they're like, look, we just need to tell a whole new story with these guys. Does it matter what is really going on? No. We just need a villain to throw at them, so that way, then they can get to the business for an on-screen debut.
They really like they're trying to replicate what I say in my head canon. Like, they're really just trying to replicate the magic of what happened during the Raditz fight without Goku dying.
Yes. Yes.
Let's showcase Gohan a lot, because he's really he's the star.
And that was about all they could do. Yeah.
He's really the star in this movie. Like, it's the reason why it's called Return by Gohan. And like, this is really his showcase.
Yeah.
So if you like Gohan a lot, please watch.
Which is it's funny because I would say there's even stuff here that ties into the most recent Japanese release. I'll probably bring it up whenever we get over to that. But really interesting stuff that really just ties that movie to this one in a really funny way if you've watched them both. Going on next, though, the second Dragon Ball Z movie.
Goated.
Oh my good God. The world's strongest. Dragon Ball Z movie 2, the world's strongest guy, known as in Japan. We'll be talking about that one here next in just a moment.
My mentor, Dr. Wheelo, lies frozen within these mountains of ice. Eternal Dragon, I ask that you melt his icy tomb so that he may be brought back to life to rule over this planet, as is his right.
As you wish.
So, when the world's strongest came out here in the States on Toonami, man, what did you think as a kid?
This movie's dope. This movie's dope. Like, it had a lot of good, it's that perfect blend. First of all, any movie that has Oolong in it, it's a dub. It's a dub. That's one of my favorite characters. So him being in the opening, like Gohan, dope. And there's a specific fight in there. Like, there's a specific scene in this specific fight that I really love. And Goku and Piccolo fight, man. Nice. Piccolo being controlled, like it was dope. It was super dope, man.
And see, that's the thing is we got this movie at a point in time where we had only been seeing the first 50 some odd episodes of Dragon Ball Z over and over and over and over on TV on Toonami. So we didn't have any sort of content that was past Goku fighting the Ginyu Force for the first time. So a journey like this on Earth where we've got this robot dude. And we've got Goku having to fight against Piccolo and them having to fight some henchmen. Listen, that's really enough for us at that point in time as kids, I would say.
Yeah, of course. So it's dope. And it starts a nice little trend of Goku ending things with the Spirit Bomb, which is my favorite.
That's true.
My favorite. It's like the over-reliable. Like, whereas it doesn't kill in the original series besides, Goku, Boo. This move is the finisher. Like, this is if anything, this is why people prop up the Spirit Bomb.
That's true. Because the Spirit Bomb did not finish nobody in the show. You know what I'm saying? But listen, man, going into Dragon Ball Z movie 2, the world's strongest guy, Oolong steals Bulma's dragon radar and finds that Dr. Cochin has wished for Dr. Weedo's lab to be released from ice. Kame Sennin is soon captured by Dr. Weedo as he is thought to be the strongest warrior in the world. Goku must defeat friends and foes to save Kame Sennin and the Earth from destruction. Now, when it comes to where we got this, obviously, this is in our initial burst of Dragon Ball Z becoming popular in the West. Over in Japan, this came out on March the 10th, 1990, as part of the Toei Anime Festival, alongside Akuma-kun and Sally the Witch. So only 2 other movies, which is why this one's a little bit longer than the first, running about an hour long as opposed to the 45 minutes.
Much needed.
Keeping in mind that, you know, the anime and the manga were running strong at that point in time too.
Yeah.
When it comes to the manga, the 7th Dragon Ball had just changed hands in the Dragon Ball Z manga series. So we've got, you know, Vegeta, Frieza, you know, dealing with their whole clash over the Dragon Balls on Namek in the manga. Meanwhile, over on the anime, we've got it to where Gohan, Krillin, and Bulma have just landed on Namek.
Not too far, really.
Yeah.
Just
So
a couple odd episodes from.
yeah, but also if you take in mind like the timing between those events in the anime and the manga, it kind of shows you where this was a really popular series at the time, because you know, in the early 90s, for a manga to be really close to an anime like that,
Yeah,
wasn't really too common. So, you know, they're both with only a few story beats away. So Dragon Ball Z is really catching up in popularity over in Japan at this point in time when movie 2 comes out.
Toriyama filling up that bag.
Bro, listen, for a man who was a millionaire before Dragon Ball Z ever even started, before Dragon Ball ever even started, I'll say he was definitely doing his thing with the release of Dragon Ball Z, and Toei knew they had a money maker, so they went in and made a second Dragon Ball Z movie. Now, when it comes to this one, you know, the gods, I've always said there's like a team duo that makes these Dragon Ball Z movies. We didn't go into it when it comes to the first movie earlier, but it was the same duo that directed and scripted this movie. Daisuke Nishio and Takao Koyama.
They cooked.
Listen, bro, Toei was definitely relying on them to make the hits. And, bro, like they showed up and showed out for this one, man. Dr. Weedo was designed by Toriyama, but as far as the rest of the art design for him, when it comes from Minoru Maeda, who is the animation director on the movie, he said he thought up the other original characters along suit with with Toriyama's design of Dr. Weedo. Around that time, the number of enemy fighters in the movie increased, so he had them wear chest and shoulder protectors, very similar to like how it was in the show. But it wasn't until Vegeta and them showed up that he decided to continue to make sure everybody had it.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. Basically, you know, if the folks in the second movie had been in the series, he probably would have drawn them more similar to the Saiyans. But that's why you have like sort of like their warrior design, and in the henchmen themselves, they use like the manga as a reference for how they look, which is kind of makes sense because a lot of the early aliens in the manga look a lot like the enemies here in the second movie.
Sure. This movie was hella good, yo. It was dope. And
Man.
They were in their bag. This was dope, man.
They really, really were. I will even say like, because this movie here, all the enemies, like, there's really unique. You've got a giant brain in a robot body. You got these other alien sort of characters, right?
Yep.
But as a group together, it kind of makes sense, like why they would like they look like, okay, no, like they would hang around, right? what I also really dig was this is something where Goku gets tested because he gets brought over to the base to sort of rescue Roshi from Dr. Wiro and Dr. Kochin. Whenever he's fighting against the enemies, there's a lot of really cool animation in the combat. Again, a lot of like really close, tight shots of him throwing fists and everything. Man, the animation direction on this one was on 10.
It was on point, man. Like there's a scene, like there's a particular scene against Goku and Piccolo where Goku catches Piccolo's hand. Like I'm usually not a person that really like super digs in towards like a particular scene.
Yes,
but that scene caught like the animation was really top there. That particular scene catches his hand, and it's like the way how they were really in their bag, man. That's all I can say. This is the first time where it's like, I can enjoy a movie. Like, you watch the original source, you watch Ocean dub, and you watch whatever. It didn't deter me away because it was really some good stuff. It really was some good stuff. Even though the soundtrack on Funimation again, not gonna dog him.
But
probably a good guy.
That soundtrack took away from it.
He's probably a nice guy, but it was still like it didn't ruin the movie. Like it wasn't something that really was like lingering in my head. Like, oh man, get this movie muted or something. No, it was still good.
The art of it in and of itself just really stood out. It was a really great movie to watch. That scene of Goku using the Kaioken to bust out of the ice, iconic as hell. Like, the Goku having to fight all three of the other two towards the end while Piccolo's fighting the other henchmen. Him using the Kamehameha wave is just like a way to end them there. I dug it all, dude.
And that was shoot, Roshi looked like that. He looked like that guy in this movie too. I really like that. Like, they didn't forget his moves. They didn't make Roshi look useless. In fact, this is probably the most action you ever gonna see out of Roshi and anything Z related.
That's true. He was treated pretty seriously here because Dr. Wito, you know what I'm saying, he was behind the times. He thought Roshi was still the strongest guy. It's like, 50 years ago. I mean, hell, he wouldn't have even known if Bulma hadn't sold out Goku.
Man, that's crazy.
I know, right? She did the whole like, oh no, my best friend will show up and beat you up.
She's a hilarious character, but wasn't needed to say any of that. But that's what makes Bulma.
I mean, I will say they did draw her looking like a baddie in this one though.
Isn't like in particular the way how she's drawn. Like this is her turn. This is her 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament.
Yeah. And it's that same sort of era where, because like I said, the Namek arc is just kicking off in the anime. She's starting to carry that same look with like the band around the top of her head and everything.
The bangs was on point.
Listen, man, I love early 90s Bulma so much. So much. She's the best. Really as far as puns go in this movie, they're all so specifically Japanese. Yeah. It's hilarious. As a matter of fact, in Daizenshu 6, it says, the names of the enemies who appeared in the world's strongest guy all got their names from Nagoya specialties. So these are all foods that are specific to Nagoya, Japan, such as Uwiro, Nagoya Kochin, Kishimen, Ebi Furai, and Miso Katsu. Those specifically being Uwiro is it's like a rice cake made out of like beans and like green tea. Kishimen is like a type of noodles. Ebi Furai, fried prawns with like and then miso katsu is like fried pork. It's all Japanese stuff, y'all. This one doesn't translate so well, but just know, like everything in Dragon Ball, everybody's name is a pun, and typically, if it's not a pun you recognize as an English speaker, it's about food. That's how it plays out, bro. Even when Toriyama's not involved, they make sure the spirit of Toriyama is felt all the way throughout.
Right in that mug.
I really, really enjoyed here the legacy that this movie has had. With the first movie, Dead Zone, we have Garlic Jr. He shows up within the anime with his little filler arc. That was pretty cool. At least Toei remembered that they had that character.
Yeah.
Now, Toei never really did anything with Dr. Wiro. For the longest, it wasn't until 2007 that we would see him included in a video game in Sparking Meteor or Budokai Tenkaichi 3. But they did throw my boy Dr. Dub in Super Dragon Ball Heroes. They gave him a human form for the first time we ever got to see what Dr. Wheelo looked like.
That is, what a nice little tribute.
Bruh.
He's a forgotten villain.
The most forgotten villain.
Nobody even talks about my man's. Which is crazy, because this is again, I don't know how hard I gotta sell you on the movie. This movie is really great. I don't do rankings of DBZ movies, but just know this is up there for me, and a lot. So for the people to forget probably the most important villain in one of the quintessential movies, it's kind of weird to me. It is what it is, though.
And we always like to talk about how the parts in the show might be a prototype for the movie. For this, really, this is the other way around.
Yeah.
This Dr. Wheelo idea, definitely something Toriyama put in his pocket for Dr. Gero.
Yep.
In the Android arc. He's like, oh, a scientist who's preserved his brain and is now using technology to keep himself alive to get revenge? Okay, cool. I think we can do that.
Could work on it.
Because, how many times did they mention Dr. Gero in Dragon Ball? Oh, that's right. That's right.
You don't have to say much.
Exactly, man. The soundtrack for this one was pretty good too. I thought it was really solid. Nothing that really stood out too much outside of that Funimation selection that they had. I don't know what the hell that was about.
I can't. I'm really trying to be a nice guy over here, because I'm pretty sure Mark Vincent is really a cool person. But other man, this was out of place again. Very out of place.
I don't understand, bro. I don't understand why Funimation decided they had to go in with their own music, but like it detracts from the movie for me personally. When it comes to the dub and sub changes, not really a whole lot, really. I will say I do appreciate, just like in the very first movie that Pioneer, the Ocean dub, they left the Japanese insert tracks in.
Bingo.
Of Masaku Nozawa singing for Gohan, as opposed to Funimation just leaving it as a track of Gohan laughing for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was, oh my God. Again. This is the little things you could have, like,
pain.
Again, lack of effort. Not gonna harp and dog on Funimation, because they do that a good job themselves. But just the little things you could have, like, Ocean dub. They had effort. They tried. They tried to do something. They tried. They put effort into the movie. Again, Funimation once again.
They put real effort into it too. Like real effort.
It's like, well, this is not covering what we're doing mainly. So let me not even give half the effort I do with the original series, which it shows bad. Like, shows like, come on, dude.
So poorly. Poorly. I'm telling you, man. Like it. Again, if you grew up watching the Funimation version, I can see why you wouldn't like this movie so much. But if you can get your hands on the Ocean dub, if you grew up in the 90s like us, where you have that as a nostalgia barrier for you, or something that guides you towards nostalgia for that, sure. If you have no basis of the Ocean dub, check this out for sure. I would definitely recommend it. Just Google these movies in the Ocean dub is really not hard to find.
Yeah, they're not. You could do a Google search and that mug disappeared. It's not hard.
Yeah. It's really easy to find these two. It was really, really dope. As far as the canon goes for this one, this is definitely a movie that they released because like, at one point, Gohan is singing about how much he loves Piccolo.
Yep.
Goku, obviously, with him having known the Kaioken, this means he's returned to Earth.
Yep.
Gohan remembers when Piccolo died for him. They show it as a flashback in the movie, and there Piccolo is just alive and well, right with them.
Whatever happened to these guys getting smoked? Why? Whatever. Again,
Because
it's movie logic. I don't mind.
Even in Daisenshu 6, it mentions, right, Goku's gi having the Kame mark and having a Kaio mark seems that this is an event from between the battle with Vegeta and Goku's arrival on planet Namek. However, there's inconsistencies such as Gohan being on Earth when he should be in the middle of fighting on Namek and Piccolo being alive. So it's just like,
what if Piccolo never died and why no planet Namek? Forget.
Yeah, I guess that is what it is, right? What if Piccolo never died? Because then they would have no reason to go to Namek.
It's literally Goku and friends beating up Vegeta and nobody dying, literally.
Yeah, they sent Vegeta packing, and that's it. Earth just has evil robots that attack.
Just laying dormant, just nowhere.
Well, I mean, not too different from what actually happens to him, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, man, two really solid movies we went over this week. Really fun watches. Between the two, what would you say your favorite was?
World's Strongest Guy in the Heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's goated.
Yeah.
Like I said, I try not to do rankings or lists, but just know this is one of my favorites, if not the favorite. Which is crazy.
I would definitely say, yeah, my favorite was the World's Strongest Guy for sure. Just so much action that we see that's more Z style.
Arts, baby, martial arts. Not screaming, man. I really try not to because I understand, moving forward, like you had to change the format of Dragon Ball to a degree, like when all these mutants and high powered, like I get it, but martial arts is the foundation of Dragon Ball. So to see that being very heavily shown, I'm like, I appreciate that a lot. It's a lot of if a movie with Roshi, obviously you're gonna have some martial arts. So they did their thing. They did. They did their damn thing.
They really did. And I would say even, Return My Gohan, it's not a bad movie. It's a good Dragon Ball. If you want to see a story of what it would have been like to see Dragon Ball right before Z,
yeah,
that's what you need to watch.
Yeah, it's nice
because it's got enough of the spirit of Dragon Ball in it, in how it carries out its action and adventure, while still having the Z element of it feeling just like the first few episodes of Z. That you get a good little crossover with that. So I would definitely say give these two a watch. Pretty solid classics, but World's Strongest Guy, I agree with D. Right where it's at, man.
It's goated. It is. And it's funny, one of the better movies of this whole collection is never talked about at all. I never seen, you scroll on Twitter right now, and anybody talking about Dragon Ball. Ain't nobody giving Dr. Wheelo no love.
But I will tell you who they do give love to. Dark Skin Goku.
AKA I didn't hit my head Goku, AKA the true Goku Black, AKA again that boy, low class god. This is he's up there.
Yeah, man. Next week we're gonna be digging into I'm so sorry, not Dead Zone. Tree of Might and Lord Slug, man. We're gonna be visiting the adventures where they meet up with Tullus in the gang and Lord Slug, man. There's actually quite a good amount of information that we're going to be covering next week because there's some, just like with these first two movies, we did have the Pioneer dub, so we'll be discussing that. But there's some international dubs out there that are also in English that are pretty fun to check out. So we'll be covering a little bit of what we were able to see outside of just the American English sub range next week.
Yes, sir.
I think it should be fun, man.
Yeah, of course. We always have fun.
bro, listen, for real. I'm saying, next week is definitely going to reflect that for sure. So yeah, if y'all get the chance, check out any version that you can find of Dragon Ball Z Movie 3, The Tree of Might, and Dragon Ball Z Movie 4, Lord Slug. It should be a really fun time, man. We appreciate y'all joining us here on Subslide, Dubslide, and remember, we always won't. All right?
Yes, sir.
Y'all be easy out there, man. Catch y'all next time. Peace.
I like you, boy.